indeed still is, although I'm working on it. And so it made sense to write Technology and Counselling and Psychotherapy and Practitioner's Guide to fill that gap, and to start getting the message out there that it was going on, whether people approved of it or not, it was going on, and we needed to address that. And the difference being that this doesn't only cover text, but also telephone, video and standalone software packages, and also in relation to supervision as well. The thoughts behind the second book, which I co-authored with Deanna Mers-Nagel in the States, I actually started in 2003. Had a contract with Sage way back in 2003, shortly after completing the first book, and found it a real struggle to write, partly because writing could be quite a lonely job, and secondly because things were changing so quickly. I didn't want to write a premature practical guide, so I think we've all created these practical guides around the same time, because I think the time is right for it, which is, I think, really reassuring. There's also a third book I've got, which has just gone to print, which is the use of technology in mental health applications, ethics and practice. And in that book we have 30 chapters. It's an edited book by myself, Deanna Mers-Nagel and Stephen Goss. And that's got 30 chapters from everything from text and email, etc., right through to the really radical software. John Wilson's written a chapter on virtual reality for us, for example. Psychometrics are in there, right through to just the use of film and media in therapy as well. So we've got 30 chapters of an absolutely epic book, and it's great for a doorstop if nothing else. So I think, again, it's more towards the lines of the first book and less, but covering more practicalities. So that'll be out in autumn sometime.
Okay. Hold this a bit away from me. And thanks, authors. The other question that I thought I'd have in mind, that I thought might be interesting, was how did you write it? I'll start off and then pass on to Anne, because doing it together is quite perhaps a different experience from how people individually write books. Having acquired our publishing contract with Paul Brave, off we go. But quite early on, Anne and I were only in online contact. I mean, at the time, we lived about nearly 100 miles apart. And we said, hey, this is about online counselling, we should do it online. Why not? So, you know, we largely did do it online. But I'll leave Anne to fill in how else we managed it.
What Jill is not saying is that we spent a week in France with a lot of nice meals and a lot of wine. No, we'd actually got the book well on the way, really, at that point. And we decided that it would be quite useful to stop and not just go on writing, but talk to each other about what was missing, where we were overlapping, what was perhaps, oh dear, I don't like myself on that thing. Sorry, not that. What needed to be titivated with it. And I think for me, that was easier to do together with both laptops, etc., than taking it backwards and forwards.
I seem to remember that we actually spent a whole evening just saying, what is it not about?
Yeah.
Who is it not for? What does it not do? And it was so much easier to do that bit, and then we knew how to frame the rest of it. So it's quite a negative approach, really.
No, it was a very positive approach.
It was all about not.
Oh, half full, half empty people.
Sorry.
And the exciting thing that can I put this bit in? Can I do a plug?
Yeah.
The exciting thing that is happening to us at the moment is that come June, our Chinese edition is being published. Which is really exciting. And we're going to have I can't get it with giggling by this. We're having complimentary copies of this. I think quite a lot. I don't know what to do. Another doorstop.
We'll be bringing them to next year's OCTIA, just in case. Jeffrey, how did you come to do yours?
How did I write it? Well, I work full-time in a university setting, 9 till 5, which is a combination of face-to-face counselling and online counselling. And I've also got a private practice in the evening as well. So the only spare time I have or had was on a Saturday afternoon. So it was essentially locking myself into the spare room and kind of banging away on the laptop every Saturday afternoon for what seemed to be ages and ages and ages and ages. With occasional breaks for my son to take over to do his A-level studies and kick me out when it was more important than writing the book. I contracted with my wife so that on a Saturday morning she'd walk the dog and empty the dishwasher and do all those tasks, which was great. But now I've finished the book, I've got to do them again. So perhaps I'll start writing something else.
Well, I guess I was quite fortunate because at the point when I thought I would like to write a book, my husband was offered the chance to work up in North Yorkshire, and so it was actually going to be quite well paid as well. So it allowed for me to give up my full-time position in Leicester and move up to near Richmond. So I had a really nice year of actually walking dogs, sitting in a very nice old house, and writing the book, and it really helped me to sort of formulate how I wanted to put the different chapters in and sort of look at the different stages and the different skills. So I feel quite fortunate to have had that opportunity actually to be able to take the time out and focus on a book.
Yeah, similar to Jill and Anne, the first book I was living in London, Stephen based in Scotland, and very much 95% I would say was done via email, and of course being an edited book had to do all our communication with all our authors, and I think apart from the other 5% was probably grabbed opportunities to catch up with each other at the bar at conference, and the occasional train journeys, meetings, etc. Very different with the second book, Therapy Online, A Practical Guide, because Deanna, of course, is based in the US. She's in New Jersey, and it was deliberate to bring her on as someone from the other side of the Atlantic for the book to have that international perspective. So, of course, Deanna and I, being 8,000 miles apart, obviously had to do a lot of it online. However, having said that, when we actually were down to deadline and finish it, I flew to the States for 2 weeks and we hunkered down, and when we weren't on her boat, we hunkered down. However, when we were on the boat talking about this book as well and finishing it off and doing that, on the back of the boat was where the third book was actually conceived, while we were chatting, while her husband piloted the boat. We were able to sit back and plan not only this book but the next two as well. So this book, the one co-edited with Stephen and Deanna, after that we're doing a second edition of Choosing an Online Therapist, the original book by Gary Stoffel, and we're also contracted to write the first book on supervision, and all of those things, those concepts came up while on the back of a boat in New Jersey.
Okay, are there any questions from audience members? Come and grab the microphone. Oh, sorry, I'm making noise.
Why should I buy all four?
Because you're our friend.
John is asking why should you buy all four.
Can I answer?
Oh, please.
I've read
all but Jethro's, actually. Not because I'm maybe I am a bit mad and addicted, but because I'm also doing some research and I wanted to make sure I kind of really explored the area. And what I love is they're all different. They're all so different. They all really complement each other. That's why I buy all four, because I think they cover